All right, good afternoon, everybody. Games just ended in the afternoon. I should have had this before I started, excuse me. So I wanted to go over the games today. 3 and 4, disappointing start. It's been a while since I've had a losing opening day, and congrats to all of you for being able to share a losing opening day with me. I just briefly, I don't want to spend a whole lot of time on this. I just want to go over the games real quick. Miami, we passed Miami. They didn't end up covering. They lost by 10, so that was a good pass. Cleveland got curb stomped by the Ravens, and I don't care what data you have. Jim Harbaugh just beats the shit out of people on opening day. So, 9-3 opening day, now 10-3. 9-1 opening day, now 10-1 if they're not playing Peyton Manning. They laid a number on the Browns, so that was next year. If you're not around hanging out with me, just take the Ravens opening day and be done with it. What an absolute ass kicking. The Jets, I really wanted to pass that game, but it's 9:30 in the morning, a half an hour before kickoff. I just didn't feel comfortable sending you guys a pass 30 minutes before the game. So I just let it go. That was an awful pick. The game was a 10-point game. They were never ever gonna cover that game. That was just a horrific pick, and that was one of our losses. The Panthers, that was a really tough loss. I mean, back and forth, and you've got 4th and a foot at around midfield or the 45 or whatever it was. And your all-pro running back has got you down to a foot of a first down to extend the drive and extend the game, basically. And Joe Brady, the first-year wonder kid from Louisiana, LSU, who was obviously awesome last year with the Tigers, first-year offensive coordinator. You don't give it to McCaffrey. You want to do one of those quick handoffs to the fullback with the game on the line? What are you doing? These guys want to show how smart they are all the time and how tricky they are. It's like, dude, if that's the third quarter and it's 4th and a foot and you miss, okay, I'll live with that, because you got the rest of the game to play. The game, if you don't get this foot, you lose. The game's over. So would you rather trust your fullback or the guy that's an all-pro and you just signed to a ton of money and is basically arguably the best running back in football? No, let's give it to the fullback, watch him get stuffed, and we lose the game. Unbelievable. These guys want to show how smart they are. You give it to the fullback. Okay. So that's all I'm going to say about that game. The Redskins, that was a really, really good game. The right side won. Looked a little rough in the beginning, but the Redskins did what I thought they were going to do. They covered that 6 points. They actually went to 5.5. That was a really, really solid play. They did the same thing to the Eagles last year. They moved the ball. They covered the game. And this year they actually won the game. The Eagles' offensive line, they had an injury during the game. They were banged up going into the game. Chase Young had a great debut in his first game in the NFL. Strip sack, fumble, a couple pressures, sacks. He had a really, really good game. Just a great game and a great win for the Redskins. I'm sorry to Don, my buddy Don, who's a huge Eagles fan. He's a huge Eagles fan. He was not happy that they lost. But a good cover for us, the Bears. Boy, that game looked like it wasn't going to go well. And then the Bears, Trubisky finally did what he does against the Lions. The Lions do what the Lions do, which is find a way to lose. And this will be Matt Patricia's last year with the Lions. He'll be gone after this year. The Lions did what the Lions do. They found a way to lose. We got a nice cover with the Bears. Jacksonville had a little system going. The division dog. They actually won the game. We passed that one. They won. So we had a couple passes that lost. The Bengals, arguably the Bengals, the Dolphins, the Jags. Those kind of split out. Here's the game that really bugged me is that under with the Packers and the Vikings. Right, all this stuff about unders and this, that, and whatnot. And they score like 1,000,000 points. And my original play on that game was the Packers, and they went to 2.5. I'm like, okay, it's 2.5. I'll play the under, and everybody's a genius after the game. I get it, but my first thought on that game was the Packers. And I was just kicking myself, and just beating myself up. I said, why on earth did you get off the Packers here? They were so much the better team today, and they won the game. That game flew over the total, so we lost the under there. We got off the Chargers. They pushed. We ate the juice. If we'd kept the game, we wouldn't have eaten any juice. But I thought that was the right play. I still think it's the right play. If A.J. Green doesn't push off at the goal line, the Bengals win the game. And then, much like the Lions, I don't know what it is about Midwest teams, but the Bengals do what the Bengals do. The kicker pulls a hammy or whatever he did to himself on a chip shot, 31-yard field goal, and he misses it to keep from putting the game in overtime, and they lose the game. The Bengals, same old Bengals. So I still think that was a really good pass. If that game goes to overtime, who knows what happens? At best, they push probably. They weren't exactly an offensive juggernaut today, so I thought that was a good pass. The Cardinals, my best bet of the day. Big Mike from Michigan said, under normal circumstances, that's a 2-unit play. I said, yeah, it is, and I probably should have done it anyway. You saw the video. You saw everything that lined up for the Cardinals. They had every last system, basically. I run for week 1, lit, and they not only covered, but they won the game outright. The Cardinals, I hope you guys got that Cardinal game pretty good. That was just the best bet on the board, in my opinion, and they won the game. They were never the wrong side in that game. They deserved to cover from the jump, and they were the better team today than the Niners, and the Niners did what they were supposed to do. That Super Bowl hangover. All those things that I showed in the video played out, which was really cool. So the Cardinals had a nice win today. The Buccaneers couldn't get out of their own way. Pick sixes, penalties, fumbles. They lost, 34-23. They had every chance to stay in that game, but they just kept shooting themselves in the foot, and they lost the game. So we went 3-4 on the video plays. Not the start we wanted, not a disaster. One game under 500. You lost, if you're a minus 110 player, you lost 1.4. If you're a 105 player, I know lots of books have 105 reduced juice, you lost 1.2. It's not a disaster. It's not what we want to do. We don't want to lose units when we play, but no one's going to have 16 consecutive weeks of plus unit plays. You're going to have some weeks, and so, a one game under 500 record, I'm not going to lose any sleep over it, because I thought the Panthers had every chance to win that game, and they didn't. And if the Panthers win, it's a 4-3, and if I stick to my guns and make Arizona a 2-unit, then it's a winning day. But it is what it is. It's a 3-4. Your record is what it is. You could say, what if that had happened, It's like Bill Parcells says, you are what your record says you are. And it's one of the greatest quotes I've ever heard. You are what your record says you are, and we're 3-4. And that's what we're going to go with. The NCAA football, real quick, we had a nice win with Miami, Florida. I believe that was Thursday or Friday. Was it Thursday night, Miami, Florida? North Carolina woke up in the fourth quarter, thank God, and covered. So we were 2-0 to start, and then Notre Dame, they threw an end zone pick that really hurt, and they didn't cover the game. They just couldn't really do much offensively, so they didn't cover. And then Tulane, they got started too late in that game, and they only won by 3. I know a lot of you like South Alabama. I got a lot of emails saying that you like South Alabama. Some of you tried to middle the game after it went to like 11.5. Tulane was kind of a disappointment. I'm not going to even say they were the right side, but it was disappointing to see how they woke up in the second half and were doing some things. But in the end, I think South Alabama deserved to cover that game. That was anything but a bad beat. I mean, they were the right side. Bama was the right side, the Jaguars. So I was really conservative with NCAA football this week. I'm going to open it up a little bit next week. I work with a friend of mine who does some modeling with the football. I've helped him with that, with some ideas to use, and he's been running some stuff on his model. Last year it was really solid, really solid. I wanted to go easy in week 1, so I just wasn't sure how week 1 would go because there's just such limited data. But the model was really solid this week. I didn't play all the games. I don't know how I managed to pick out 2 of the losers, Tulane and Notre Dame. There were some games I passed that won, but that's not the point. I'm not here to tell you the games that I passed and won. My point for saying that is that the model looks to be performing as expected, and going forward we're going to be using a lot of those plays on the models because they're really solid, and they were great last year, and I expect it to be very good this year. I will also use my systems. Also, I don't have as many systems this year, but if I see some plays that I really like, I'll add those. But the model that I'm working on with my buddy, it was really nice. So hopefully that continues, and I'm going to give out those plays weekly. I would guess around 10. I'm just guessing 10-ish college football games a week. Of course, there's a lot more college teams than NFL teams. You're going to have more plays. But looking forward to college next week. A disappointing NFL 3-4. I think last year we started off, 5-2. The year before was a winning week. This just wasn't. And like I said, it's 3-4. So now we went 1-6. 3-4 I could live with. Next week's a new day. I didn't do any baseball today or yesterday. I gotta be honest with you. I woke up this morning at 9. I opened up my baseball, and my stomach was just churning. I was really nervous about today because I know I have so many of you on board. I'm like, man, I gotta get off to a good start. I gotta have a good start. I'm handicapping baseball, and like half my mind is just on football. So I just shut it down. I said, you know what, if you can't commit to your baseball today, just shut it down. We got football. People are interested in football. I'll get back to baseball tomorrow. But I just could not get into the baseball today. Opening day football. I was really excited, really nervous, and so that's why we didn't have any baseball. So that's it. Like I said, I don't want to go forever. Looking forward to next week. College football, NFL. Get back to baseball tomorrow. And by the way, the NBA had like a 10 o'clock game today. I think the Nuggets beat the Clippers, and I looked at my live odds page. I saw the game was over. I was like, oh, what time does the NBA game start today? The game was over at like 12:30. Yeah, I'm a true professional when I don't know what time an NBA playoff game starts. That's how much I was locked into the NFL. So anyway, 3-4, not awful, not what we want, but it's far from a disaster. NCAA football went 2-2 this week. We're 2-4 for the season. If CMFA Austin doesn't blow it last week, we're 3-3. So it happens. That's the way it is. I'm not making any excuses. Like Bill Parcells says, your record says you are what your record says you are, and we are 3-4 in the NFL, and we are 2-4 in NCAA football. And going forward, that is going to improve. So I hope you guys have a great day. Enjoy the Sunday night game. I have nothing on it. I know the Rams flipped from a dog to a favorite, and I noticed several games lines were flipping around and they didn't pan out. The Falcons opened up. Falcons flipped to a 1-point favorite today, from a dog to a favorite. Hey, I got some text. Hey, Falcons are now a favorite. That's some sharp money, and they get punked basically by the Seahawks. So I don't get too caught up in line moves and where they move and all that. The Tampa Bay Saints total dropped. It went over. Unless you see a really large bet discrepancy, bets and money or something, I really don't like to pay too much attention to line moves unless something really stands out, like I showed people last year with that Colts Chiefs Sunday night game and that Browns Niners Monday night game, that where something really stood out. If something really hits you in the face, and that's something to notice. But other than that, I don't really like to get too caught up in line moves. So having said that, again, I hope you guys enjoyed the football today. Things will get better. I 100,000% believe that. Enjoy the game tonight, and we will be back tomorrow. Guys, have a nice evening. Talk to you later.